Jason Frost, thank you for coming on.
It's all right.
You've had quite a journey. So from prison to a multi-million-pound empire you have now built.
Yeah.
And to add on to that, that's 2.5 years it's taken
2.5 years
to build.
I would say hard work, but it doesn't feel like I go to work. Like, it just feels like a nice day in the life. There's been some higher moments and lower moments, but I would say the lower moments are just a bit of education more than a lower moment.
What was it that, for people that don't know, what is your empire?
I own a fitness company, so we're expanding now into an app, a coaching app. But for me, it's been personal training into opening, which is about to be a third gym. So, and this has all been cash driven as well. So we've funded this through profits, nothing through the banks. So that just, for me, it's not about that kind of showing off aspect. This is about hard work's paying off. And now I'm showing the world that if I can do it, you can do it.
Because I saw you were nominated for an award on your social media. What was that?
Year. Like, who would have thought a boy from prison getting nominated for a Business of the Year award, to get all the way through to the finals, just to even be recognised for such a big thing. That was a real pinch me moment, this year, and for my mum to be there. That woman's seen a lot.
Nice. And going back to, as you say, where you came from, from prison was that like your lowest point being there?
I think it's got to be anyone's lowest point. Like, if you've not been there, which not a lot of people have, and that's why I think it fascinates a lot of people. There ain't no lower than that. This room we're in today is probably bigger than my cell, and I spent 3 years in there.
3 years.
3 years in a room smaller than this. I spent most of my day in there.
Same cell, 3 years.
No, I did move around a little bit, but that same cell, but it's not a luxury one, and it's not like a hotel. It's that cell is the same cell in just a different area of the jail. It's the same size. It's got the same bunk bed in it, same sink. Limited. Limited to how much water you can get out of the tap. Per hour, so you can't flood the cell. So if you're really thirsty one day, you're screwed.
So how did this even come around? Like, how did you go from wherever you were in life to then being in prison for 3 years?
Yeah. So I was just a young lad. I was at a party. I think I was one of the cooler kids. I would say that I was one of the cooler kids in school. But we went to this party, and every time I drank alcohol, all my mates used to go, "Don't do it, don't do it." And I used to drink vodka, and they sent me loopy, and I don't even know why. I don't know why. I still don't know to this day. I could drink vodka now, absolutely fine. But I was drinking vodka, and I would just lose my head, and I'd become someone violent and dangerous. And a full-blown psychopath.
I got a best mate who is exactly the same. Like vodka, he just turns violent. Yeah. So I don't know what it is. Is it like, it must be something in vodka?
The thing is, it doesn't do that to me now. So I don't know what triggered it. But this went on for a long time. And when you're only 17, 18 or whatever it was, when your mates are telling you at that age, like, probably this is a bad move. These kids are the same age as me, and they're telling me, don't drink that vodka. They knew exactly what triggered me. And I'd be fighting every weekend. And it sounds bad, but I quite enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. And I look back at it now, and I'm like, how the hell did I beat some of these people up? Like, I was 9 stone then, 9 stone wet. And I was fighting massive blokes, and I was winning. And I shouldn't laugh, but it triggered me to keep going. I was good at it. I should have probably just took up boxing. And put my energy into something else. But what do you know at 17 years old? I was then gone to this party. That's when things happened, and I've hurt someone to the point where I end up with a jail sentence. The boy, lucky enough and blessed that he's still alive to this day, and I reach out for remorse and everything else, and I am very remorseful for what I've done. But I punched this boy really for no reason. You know, there was a bit of an altercation, but I really hurt this boy, and had life-changing impact on his life. You know, he suffered a broken jaw. He hit his head on the floor. Lucky enough, you know, that didn't cause him any problems later in life. But you know, I remember him in court, and he had a metal jaw. You know, then you understand why. You know, you start looking at the bigger prison sentence. People go, why did you get such a long time? And well, this boy has now got a metal jaw for the rest of his life. You know,
what was that like? Like that intermittent period between, you know, you've hit this kid to then going to court, going to prison like that. It must like weighing down on you.
Didn't care.
You didn't?
Didn't care.
Didn't care.
No, I think, do you know what, it's only in the last 5 or 6 years that I've actually started to care and finding purpose to care. When you have nothing to lose and you're in a rut and you are self-destructing and everyone around you is self-destructing, you do not care. And that's what makes someone dangerous. I believe you could be the toughest man in the world, but how far are you willing to go? You know, and for me, I was willing to go all the way. And I became that person, in that way inclined. I did not care, do not get in my way. And if you do get in my way, I will hurt you. And people got hurt. And the journey of fighting only became worse. Prison did not slow me down.
Really?
If anything, prison sped me up. It was a journey that I saw suicide, I saw people dying, I saw people get stabbed, I saw people get hot watered. I never saw this before I went to jail. I was surrounded in criminals. You know, it's probably not the place I needed to go, really. I probably just needed to be put somewhere, be offered an apprenticeship maybe, be given a chance to go, right, mate, you've got a year to go and sort yourself out. We're going to give you all the tools that you need to go and sort yourself out. And if you don't use those tools, you'll go into jail for 3 years. That would have done me. I think it would do a lot of people.
You see it in Scandinavia. Their prison systems are like that.
Oh, really?
It's like a college almost inside. So it's not so much. It's a bit like a hotel room. Like when you like see it, it's not like a prison in their prisons over there, and you get taken into like do carpentry and things like that, and learn a trade, learn a skill, and then you just go out and you go into what you've learned. Instead of I've never been to prison. I came very close once, scared the shit out of me, and I don't know what it's like inside. So how is it?
You see, I think everyone likes to paint this perception of prison that it's a holiday camp. And it's very easy for people to have that perception when they're looking in from the outside. They've never been in trouble. They've never even been in a police cell. You know what I mean? It's very hard to look in. But, you know, when you see a prisoner with a TV in his cell, I'm telling you now, that is the only thing that keeps you sane and stops you constantly overthinking from whatever it is you're thinking. You know, having a TV in yourself for the next, well, for me, 3 years is not a luxury. Freedom is luxury. Being outside is a luxury. Waking up every day is a luxury. You know, seeing your kids every day is a luxury. Seeing your family. Waking up and having a TV in your house is not a luxury, really. You know, it's a novelty.
Yeah. Because you got more than 3 years, didn't you?
I got a 5-year sentence.
Yeah.
I got a 5-year sentence done, 3 years behind the door. 2.5 years in one stint. And then I decided to go on the run. Because I came out and committed more offences. I just didn't slow me down. Like I said, it was never, prison didn't fix me. Prison made me worse. I stand by that to this day.
On the previous podcast, you mentioned this woman was the reason you went on the run.
Yeah. In
the first place, who kind of like took you in. Was that right? Yeah,
she turned on me, and actually I believe that she's actually in prison herself right now.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard. She was, when you're a prisoner, and then you've got someone good in life who's doing well, and they've never been in trouble with the law, versus someone who's been in trouble with the law. When it comes to someone, or like the court or the police or anyone in general would listen, there's a side that someone will take, and it's never going to be the offender or an ex-offender. It's always going to be the person who's clean whistled, and and that's exactly what happened. This woman asked me to debt collect for her and chase money from flats because she was a landlord of over 350 properties, and I looked after them. And she was dealing with council benefits, people looking after them, putting them into houses. So these people were not always paying their money on time. They were renowned for missing payments, and she used the brute force of myself and the people I was surrounded by to collect the money for her, and I loved it. This is authority for me and power, dominating, which. So I was a perfect job for this, and I done good for her. She loved it. There was never people didn't miss their, well, if they did miss their payments, they knew they were out. And when coming to throw people out, I came into a world of my own. I loved it, which is mad. But yeah, this woman, when it came on top with the police and stuff, she denied all knowledge. She said that I was dangerous, and the police took her side and we could put a warrant out for my arrest. That I was back up to no good. I was dangerous. I was a risk to the community, and I needed to be put back in jail. And a warrant went out for my arrest. And then I was like, nah, this ain't happening. This woman has used me in this position, put me in this position, and now she thinks that she can put me in jail and they're going to turn against me. I was like, I'm going on the run. And that's exactly what I did.
How long were you on the run for?
6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. It was, but I'll tell you what, that was probably the most wildest thing I think I've ever done in my life. It was crazy. And and because I was an ex-offender and the woman in general, she was an ex-copper, I believe. The police didn't do a half-hearted job for me. They were all out. It was like I was a murderer. Honestly, it was like I just committed a murder and they were out for me. They were gunning for me as well. And it only escalated to getting it on Crime Watch. I was in posters in the back of taxis. I was having people's houses searched that I'd never even met before. I was having doors kicked in premises that I was in, but managed to get out before they turned, as we saw them turn up. I was in a nightclub and they came through the front door and I ran out the back door. They were so close to getting me. And one time, I mentioned it before, they actually had me in a car because they pulled me over. And I was just selling drugs at the time, which we'll go into in a bit. But I had a lot of drugs in the car, and they pulled me over on a random stop because I pulled out in front of a police car, and they had me in the car. And the only reason they let me go is because it was absolutely torrential rain, and they told me that I seemed like a nice boy, and they let me go. And I honestly, well, I don't know who was watching over me that day, but I think I'd probably still be in jail today because I had that much stuff in the car that I would have probably got a big 10, 12-year sentence. So, and
is that where sort of you mentioned like you were dealing? Is that where that came from?
Yeah.
Like while you're on the run to sustain yourself?
Yeah. Exactly that. I got into selling Class A's, and then I funded my run, being on the run by selling Class A's, and it worked. And then I saw the money in it. Parked a load of it up while I was when I decided to hand myself in, and when I came out, I was like, right, this is me. I know what I'm doing now. I'm good at this. I'm a good salesman. That I always say to people when it comes to sales that I'm very good at talking, and I'm also very good at selling, and I will sell you anything I can, however I can. If you're in desperation of money and survival, because I'm not getting a job, no one's going to employ me. I'm a thug. I'm a psychopath and I'm a thug. No one's employing me. So the best job for me was to be a psychopath drug dealer. And that's exactly the route that I went down, and I thrived off it, and I've done very well. And I had an amazing time being a drug dealer.
Going back to that a minute quickly, you handed yourself back in and you served out. How much did you serve out of your
Another
sentence?
6 months.
6 months.
Equal the 3, yeah. It's not a nice feeling.
What made you hand yourself back in?
I would have said it was my family, but I can't say it was, because while I was on the run, my mum rang me, and obviously a Crime Watch was coming up, and my mum and my family are nice people, And my mum was like, you need to hand yourself in, stop doing this to the family, I'm in the front page of a paper now. You know, I'm getting phone calls while I'm out on the street going, mate, turn on the radio. I'm on Kiss FM, Heart Radio. Other radio stations are available. You know, I'm fully on the run, and I am making a mockery of my mum and my parents. And my mum was like, "Please have myself in that." Didn't faze me. That did not put a down on it. I did not put a dampener on my being on the run. I did want to have myself in. For me, be back behind those closed doors again, it scared me, I think. I didn't want to be back behind there. And I knew that I didn't, well, yeah, it's a lie. I probably did deserve to be back behind there. But, yeah, I don't know. It was
just one of those things.
Yeah.
You just
I did it when I got, because obviously I got recalled and then I got taken to court for intimidation and things like this for these people that I was, you know, debt collecting for. I actually did get away with it in court. So I actually went back to 6 months in prison to get away with it in court anyway. You know, not saying I'm completely innocent from it, but, you know, it was definitely blown out of proportion. But I suppose the police, they just look at it as I'm a risk to society. I'm on license anyway. So as soon as that risk goes up, you are put back inside. And again, it didn't teach me a lesson.
Yeah, because you went 6 months, and then did you have 2 years left? On license.
Yeah,
and then you just went straight back out into doing what you did before you went in.
Well, there is no real help on that second time. They don't. The prison system will help. The prison system is there to help you. I feel like I played the prison system well. You know, I knew that was a mission in my head, and I learned the prison system very quickly and manipulated my way to get to an open jail. And I've done that by deceiving and lying and doing whatever I could. You know, this is a dog-eat-dog world in there. This isn't any messing around. I'm in there and I'm listening. I've got my ear to the ground. I'm being clever. and I'm hearing about these things. And I'm like, right, if I do that and do that and do that, then I can get out of here quicker. I didn't even know about the halfway point. I didn't even know that a 5-year prison sentence means you do 2.5, and then when you get, you know, doing a 2.5, and then you can do this and this. I didn't know about that. I thought I was in there for 5 years. I remember that day when I arrived and I called my mum. I'm sorry, I didn't call my mum. I couldn't call it for about a week. And I finally got through to her. I just broke down in tears, and I was like, "Mum, when am I coming home?" And she said, "You're not." And I was like, "When do I get out?" And she was like, 2.5 years, Jason. I was like, "No." I just couldn't hear it. Even when the judge sent me down in the courts, the day they sent me down, I didn't hear what he said. I don't think I wanted to hear it. And I was behind that big glass thing. And I do not remember what he said. And I got taken downstairs in cuffs by 2 security officers. And I got taken downstairs, and I remember them, and I remember sitting in this little court, like a little cell, still like being uncuffed. And I said, what did they say? And she said, "Oh, you got 5 years today." I said, "I'm going to jail for 5 years. 5 fucking years, yeah. Come on." That's it. I was trying to work out in my head, like, I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I was like, I'm going to be 23 when I get out of here. You know.
And for those that don't know, we're going to go back up in there again. What is the difference between, like, you went to prison and then you mentioned the open prison?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between the two?
It's just a more relaxed regime. Opportunities arise. Again, I don't come across as a thug. I don't come across as a psychopath. But if I want to be one, I can be one. So when I'm talking to a prison officer, I'm very polite. I'm now this nice boy who's in there. You know, they don't know what the kind of guy that what I could have turned into. And I played the system well. You know, I don't have an issue. I don't need to go to anger management. All right, look, go to the anger management course and go to the anger management course. You've got to do your court order states that you must go to the course, and what you do is a pre-assessment. When I got to that pre-assessment, I just lied my way through it. How do you feel when you're provoked? Oh, I don't really get provoked. You know, answer the questions right. Next thing you know, I've been ticked off the anger management course without even having to do it. You know, I played the system, and I knew what I was doing, and I got to where I wanted to get to, and that was the open jail. And then when I got to the open jail, it was a big open house, had about 30 bedrooms in it. You were in about a 5 or 6 man. I think I was in a 6-man dorm basically. Yeah, a big old room. But I got my own bed. There's 6 lads in there. You know, we was proper lads as well. And we were just everyone was on their own mission. Everyone was on their own path. We was all into our gym. We all loved gym. We all trained together. We got to go to the open and outdoor gym. So we're now getting back into society, back into reality, interacting with people, which was different. You know, I spent all the years behind the door, surrounding myself in people who just want to prove themselves all the time, who want to fight. A lot of testosterone flying around. Mm-hmm. Who's the strongest in the gym? Who's this? Yeah. It was it was a nice feeling. It was a nice feeling to get over there. I remember I got there on my birthday, actually. I don't know, I think it was my 21st birthday. I got into the open jail. I know I was allowed to have a visit there and then. And my parents came up and I accidentally put the wrong clipper on my hair and accidentally shaved my hair off. So the day my parents turned up after seeing me for so long, I now had this skinhead, and you know I lived up to the thug image. Then you know there was no manipulating them. I was a changed man. They now think I'm a full blown thug who's coming out of jail shaving his hair off. You know it was actually a mistake, but yeah, quite funny.
So when you say you got to go to like the gym outside, was that like in like, was it a compound?
No,
or like
I was a Fitness First in Norwich.
Oh really? So you are allowed outside?
Yeah. And then they call it a rottle, which was like released on temporary license. So I was. So you have to prove yourself. You're in the open prison for a bit, making sure you're not going to run off. Blah 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 blah. And then you're released on a temporary license, and you're allowed out for like 6 hours or 3 hours, and you have to say where you're going, or it states where you're going. You are expected to be there, obviously bending the rules as much as I could. But we did go to the gym a lot, and it got me into my fitness. I've been training since I was 17, really. You know, I've been training in the gym since I was 17, all the way through to jail sentence. And now I'm out the other side of it. And when I got to the other side of it, going into those being released on temporary license, into the mainstream gyms is when I got introduced to steroids. And steroids made me worse. Made me even worse. I thought I was bad. I was now terrible. I look back at it now and I wonder how I am like I am now, because I was terrible, dangerous.
What did you notice when you first went on gear?
I felt good. You don't think the anger side, I always say, and I talk to people a lot about steroids now, is when you take steroids, you don't change the next day. It's a 6-week, 8-week, 12-week, a year process of putting things in your body that doesn't need to be there, which will then develop into higher testosterone levels, which for most will mess around with your brain, and you become an angry person. But that doesn't happen overnight. So this is a very slow process of gradual. So you don't really notice how angry you're coming. Other people do. That is for sure. And I always used to get told, "You're so angry." No, I'm not. You're angry. That was it. Who are you talking to? Why are you talking about that for? Have some respect. I'm not angry. You're angry. Maybe you should come off of steroids. It's not the steroids doing it. Yeah, it was. I didn't know it though. I didn't actually generally didn't believe the steroids made me angry until I came off them about 5 years ago.
5 years. 5 years ago. It's like eating shit food. You think it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to have another one tomorrow. And then 6 months down the line, you're like another stone heavier. You're like, fuck, where's this come from?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's a very slow trickle of a downhill spiral. Very slow trickle. And it's only going to get worse. And you probably won't really notice it. And then I always say, the feeling of feeling good and feeling amazing is there's very far. It's a big in between. And when you're on steroids and you're sweeping down at that low level, and you generally believe that you look good and you feel good. Let me tell you now, the day that you come off them and spend 6 months off them, then you tell me that you felt good, because you don't realize how bad you're feeling right now. You might feel good because you don't know what good is. That's what I always say to people. You are not feeling good in yourself, but your brain is telling you are. And your mental strength is nowhere near as powerful as I am now. Yeah, what I like to say to myself now is that I use all my traits of being an absolute nutter and a psychopath, and I use it in business. And I use it to drive forward people, myself, good people. And I use all that energy and that power that I've got never to be there anymore. I want to be up here, and I want to be a psychopath in business, and that's what I want to be known for. Yeah, and it works. And it's amazing that the word psychopath really can be used to be in business. And that is, I stand by that, is exactly what I am.
Yeah, you see it across all like ultra successful businesses. The directors, the founders, they're not pushovers.
No.
You know, if they want something, they're getting it.
100%.
And it doesn't matter who's in the way.
It's probably a 1% thing, you know. There's not many of us out there who can be resilient, be knocked down, get back up, make quick decisions, think on your feet all the time, you know. And when it goes wrong in business, normally it doesn't just. It's not normally just a little thing that goes wrong. It's normally either one big thing or loads of little things happen at once. And to stand there strong on your feet and go, right, this is what we're going to do, and this is the action we're going to take. And too many people have got an opinion. You know, this is my journey, my story, my responsibility to look after people's wages, livelihoods. And if I make one bad, wrong decision, it could be a bad place for many other people. And I never want that responsibility. You know, I put everyone first. And even with like money and stuff like that, you know, I always ask people if they're all right. You know, I don't just dish out money, but I do. When people recently, I've been talking to someone and they said about they want to do a course, and I offered to pay for the course for them. You know, I don't know why. I don't really know them, but I feel like it's my duty, and I feel like I care, and I feel like I love to see other people doing well, and I pride myself on that. You know,
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
it is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Again, like going back to like when you were in like your crime days, like, the people you're hanging around with, like that's what you're getting back.
Yeah.
But you flip that round and you're putting out that, you're going to get that back. And it may not be like in the form of financial gain, but in some form of like something good's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like swings and roundabouts.
Well, I just think I never had that opportunity. No one ever gave me that opportunity. You know, no one ever offered me courses. No one ever offered me guidance and support. This was from the very start my journey, and every wrong move that I've made has had to be corrected by me. I've removed the people from my life that always had a negative impact on me. I don't talk to them. I removed them. I've even blocked them. You know, some might say it's a bit muggy, but you know what? Not everything can be politically correct, eh? But I surround myself with very, very good people now. You know, I was hanging around with a pilot the other day, and I was like, this is so mad. Like, I hang around with a pilot. You know, all my mates are just being drug dealers, or they nick cars for a living, or you know, something. No one's a pilot. Like, it's just mad, honestly. And it only seems to be getting, you know, bigger and bigger, and like CEOs, directors, and next thing I know, I'm at that business awards that we said about. You know, I'm surrounded by these people. I'm like, I'm so out of place here. You know, got these bloody white teeth, and I stand out like a sore thumb in this place. And you know, the only story to be in there, which is about this boy who's been in prison, and that story's me. And I'm like, wow, man. You know, and people. You know, I never used to inspire people like pilots because I was a thug. Now people are so inspired by me, and I don't know, I don't really think about it that often. It's only when I really sit down and do things like this, I kind of take a pinch me moment and go, wow, do you know what? People actually inspire. I'm inspiring people, even directors and CEOs and pilots. You know, I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I think the people that do that are like role models and like people that inspire people. If you look at them, they're always ones that own their story.
Yeah.
It's never, oh, you know, I was here because of this guy. Like, it's this mate's fault that I was in prison and I've done nothing wrong. Like, owning your shit and then being so open about it, that's what gets people.
And being open about it was actually, it was a good subject to touch on. Being open about being in jail and being in trouble with the law really did help me. And talking about it, because when I was in an open jail and I was going out onto the streets, my mates used to meet people out in the gym and that, and people used to say, "Oh, where you boys? Where do you live?" And everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, we're in the open jail at the top of the hill." And not me. I was like, "No, keep my name out of it. Keep my name out of it." When you do not talk about your story, everyone assumes the worst. Yeah, all right, yes, I did what I did, and I hurt someone, and I did that, but I'm not a murderer. I didn't do anything. People come up with crazy stories. This is where I'm going at. People come up with the most craziest story to why you're in jail. They then paint this picture of you, and that picture will become like Chinese whispers. And by the end of it, they've created this story out of you that wasn't even true. So the best thing you can do is talk about it, shut them down, and before they can even go on about it, start talking about your message. What is your message? What is your purpose? Yes, you've committed crime. That's not the end of the world. Yeah, it probably used to be the end of the world, but let's change that enigma around all this now. This is enough's enough. Yeah, we've done what we've done. We ended up in jail. Everyone deserves a second chance. Let them have a second chance. Okay, third, fourth, going to jail for the wrong things. I can't, that's a different subject in general. But for 99% of us, we all make mistakes. Some of us worse than others. And now it's about a case of give someone a chance. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be an ex-offender. Someone from the streets of being homeless, an ex-drug addict, an ex-gambler. Everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone needs help. The world that we live in right now is becoming harder and harder and harder and harder. It's never going to get easier. The next year is not going to be easier. Next year is going to be harder. Since when, I don't know if you probably agree that, since when have we been alive as the next year got easier? The government make it harder. It's never got, next year the taxes are going down, this is going down, that's going down. Never, I don't remember. Do you recognise that happening? No. Never. So plan for it to get harder so you can start thinking ahead. And when you can start thinking ahead of what's due to come, then you're one step ahead of everyone else. One step ahead of everyone else. And that's where I like to be. And that's why I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. And I stay awake till about 11 p.m. I nap in the day. And I like to say that I live my life in a 14-day week. 14 days every week that I have. And that's why I get double the work done. And that's why I double the speed of everyone else. This journey took me 2.5 years, which probably would have took the average person 4.5 years, 5 years. I've done it in 2.5. It's because I get up super early. I have a little nap at lunchtime. So I do my 7 or 8 hours. I nap at lunch. I do another 7 or 8 hours in the afternoon. Time you've done your 1 8-hour day, I'm doing your 16-hour day. I'm having it done 14 days in a week. Start doing that and start speeding up the work ethic.
Yeah.
And you get the job done.
And like going back to that, sort of owning your story, like the society, nowadays, it's like one strike and you're out.
Yeah.
Like you say the wrong thing, right, it's getting cancelled. It's like, where the fuck did that all come about? Someone can't make a mistake who's in the public eye. Yeah. Like everyone's human. Yeah. No matter.
The problem is if your face fits, they seem to let it go. I went for auditions for ITV for TV auditions before. I've been on TV with MTV before. Some of the stuff on MTV actually got through before they found out. But I went to ITV, done auditions there, and I got very, very far. They loved me. They were calling me up saying, "This is what's going to happen. We're going to be on this show. We're going to be doing this. You're going to be this." And then all of a sudden it'd be bam, no contact. And I know exactly why. It's because on day 1 I filled in that CRB check, and by day 30 the CRB checks, or day 14 the CRB checks come back, seeing that I've been in prison, and they don't want to know anymore. They won't even answer the phone to you. They won't even talk to you. But yet there's certain people who seem to have been in prison or drink driving offences or do this and do that and still seem to be on TV, which is a shame, really. I'd like TV industries to start breaking away from that. Yes, I've been in jail. Yes, I understand that there's someone out there on that TV screen or maybe a few people who are going to be hurt by seeing me on that screen. But life has to move on. And as long as there's remorse around by what's happened, I believe that. I believe that, you know, I should have been given that chance to get on TV. I should have been allowed to do what I wanted to do. You know, there was a reason they wanted me on that TV show, because I was a good personality, a good character. But yeah, my bit of paper that stands behind me that no one can see ruined it for me.
It's crazy. Because you go into prisons now and do talks, is that right?
Yeah. So it slowed down a little bit after the COVID, but we've done a few talks in the prisons. One of them was to go back to where I was, which was at Norwich Prison. I went back there last year because really the journey stays, you know, from being in prison in the gym. I worked in the gym in there, and I'd done one course in there that I actually followed it through, and that was the PT qualification. So I followed that PT qualification through, and finally, 10 years on, I've used that qualification, even though, you know, I'd never had to use it for myself because I own the business. But I go into the prison, I tell them this is my journey. You going into that gym today and you doing that course, you know, you could come out and you could own a multi-million-pound business. You could start a personal training company. You can do things with it. If you love the gym and you love a passion for it, and there's so many people do. A lot of people in the jail, especially, well, I've not been in the female, but all the lads in the jail, 90% of them love the gym. They're good at it. They understand it. They've got a passion for it. They get up, they go to the gym for a purpose. And that purpose really in jail is to either be the biggest guy in the gym or good for your mental health. It's keeping you like, oh God, I need to get out of this cell. Gotta go gym. Because it makes you feel good for the next 12 hours until you can go again. And it's, you know, then that's what it is. So people understand the purpose of it in prison because there's such a low point. You know, it's not like a personal trainer who's walking into a mainstream gym today who is living a much better life already than what someone else in a prison cell. So these guys in prison will become the best personal trainers because they know what it's like to feel the lowest of the low. You're suffering mental health, you're locked in a room, and you want to feel good. And when you start using those skills from the inside and take them on the outside, different ball game. Different ball game. You're the elite of the elite. You know, my knowledge and my brain power will outdo any personal trainer on that gym floor. You know, I know what it's like to feel lowest of the low, from suicide to prison to being a CEO.
Going back to that, you saying you got the PT qualification while inside. And I know you said like when you came out, you were out dealing drugs again. What was it that you're like, right, I want to open Fitbox?
Well, I got a drug addiction. I had a drug addiction, so I was selling the drugs, and I moved into taking a lot. Became a pretty good, bit of a big player in the game. You know, big fish in a small pond, really. But started making a few quid, and when you start getting attraction around being a big fish, you start getting the wrong attention from the criminal world. I got stabbed in my own home. Mental health was shot to bits. And for me, if I didn't act and come away from this industry, I think I'd end up dead, to be honest. And the mental health side of it, I was done. I wanted to kill myself. Tried many times. I couldn't do it to my family, even though we're not really, you know, we're not the closest to family network. I knew the knock-on effect of it would be bad. You know, I was struggling hard. Really
that was hard. One of the things that stopped me was knowing the shit I was gonna leave behind. That was the biggest reason. Yeah, and it sucks, and it feels like you're in a dark hole, and there's fucking no way out.
Yeah.
And do you think for you that was like from the drugs?
Yeah. I think I didn't really understand about PTSD and stuff as well. Like obviously being stabbed at your house. You know, I've had my eye sockets broken multiple times by gangs, knuckle dusters to the face. All this just adds up. It added up, and I think it just took a toll on me that I couldn't take this anymore. I was done. And I had to change. And if I didn't change, I don't know, it was either go back to jail or dead. And I don't think anyone would have killed me. I think I'd have killed myself. Eventually, I'd have driven myself into the ground. So I ran away. I ran away to Brighton after calling my mum while on drugs, which my mum didn't even know. Well, I don't think she was stupid, but my mum didn't even know I'd done drugs. So to ring her to tell her that I was on drugs at the time, that I needed her help, and would she come and save my life? And when she turned up an hour later to see me in the state I was in, they weren't going back. You know, you only let your mum see you in that state once before you go, right, I now need to prove to this woman I'm going to change. I don't think she actually, she probably didn't believe I was going to change. And she probably still had her doubts about it, but bloody right, she should have had doubts about, you know, the amount of times I told her I was going to not get arrested anymore and not do this anymore and not do that anymore. People stop believing in you. You know, I always say that to people, don't, just because someone's giving you some advice to not do something or maybe do something slightly different is probably because they don't believe in you yet. You know, when they start believing in you and they start looking at the journey that you're going on and then they go, yeah, go and do that, that'd be good. And they believe in you because you're doing it and you're now a doer rather than a chat shit, really. You know, you're just lying to manipulate them. And there's only so long that people will put up with that and they will give up on you. You know, people told me not to drink every weekend and stop doing drugs on nights out. Yeah, I'll stop doing that every weekend. I'm with them. I'm out doing it. So in the end, they give up with you, even though you are on death's door. They don't care because they've given you their advice. They're going to say it once and they ain't going to say it again. So it's down to you to change. It's down to you to want to change. And only you can do this. It is a journey that people will help you. If you help yourself, people will follow you and they will support you and guide you and educate you and motivate you. But that is down to you. This is always going to be a one-man band, unless you prove to people that you want to change.
And Fitbox has done that.
Fitbox has done it, yeah. Again, I don't really think about the success of Fitbox. I don't look at the money really. I am quite money driven. I don't wake up and go, oh, I'm rich. Like, I'm not rich. I'm on a journey to being very successful. But you know, I invest a lot of money back into the business. You know, to open the third gym now. You know, we like I'm not sure I said, but we bought this. This is not to show off. This is. We pay for our gyms as profits come in, which is a different way of doing it other than what probably most people do. But it just shows that I'm invested into this business. It shows that we can do it without going to the banks. And it's just nice to own them outright, you know, without getting into huge amounts of debt. You know, I own that gym. I own everything from the front door to that kitchen to the bathroom sink. You know, I own that. And reaping the rewards from it now is great. Starting to hire more people, starting to take on sales teams, starting to take on more coaches, starting to pay people more. You know, in the organisation now, there's probably five coaches or 5 or 6 coaches that we have. We've got 2 sales teams. We have a marketing team. And Jack is an investor for one of the gyms. And, you know, is another story as well, but, you know, Jack had to believe in me. You know, I sold the dream to Jack for this Cotswolds gym. You know, me and Jack are business partners within that gym. You know, I own the other gyms. They're personally mine. But, you know, I met Jack on holiday and I sold Jack the dream of what I had achieved. No lies. I told him I'd been in prison and I had opened this gym and I was making X amount of money. And Jack was like, I want a slice of this. I want to do this. And that's exactly how I started. You know, I saw a boy doing a boot camp and he told me how much money he was making. And I was like, I could do this. And off I went. And and I inspired to be like that. Inspired to be like the guy that I met called Tim for quite some time, until I realised our journeys are very different. You know, I have a story to tell, and that's going to be my journey, where his story was just money driven. Mine's all about this, you know, this story about coming from a prison cell to running a business, to motivating, helping people, like-minded people, everyday people, to get up, get active. Use our facility to do that. Use my life skills to help you. And it's just working, you know. I'm saving lives every day. You know, that's how I look at it. We got over nearly 200 people in the gym who come in and use it in the one in Hove. And I look at, and it was only a reflection that I'm like, I probably keep a lot of you I keep a lot of you sane every day by offering this service. And you lot are powerful people to rock up here at 6 a.m, to come and put yourself through your paces, to listen to me shout at you, to go and set yourself up for a good day. That's why you're here. And my gym, to be able to be that tool to keep these people being powerful in whatever they do, is mind-blowing. You know, and what other people may come into the gym, you know, I do know about a few of them, but mental health issues, drug addiction. And these people do open up to me. I do help them. I do try and talk to them. And I've been there. I've done that. Look, what you're doing is great. Keep coming to this gym, or go into a gym. Get moving. Get active. You know, hopefully get yourself off the antidepressants eventually by using the form of fitness and energy and power, and surround yourself in these people that come here. Because anyone that goes to the gym, I'm telling you now, they're the people that you want to be around. They're motivating people. And you keep doing that. And I promise you, your future's going to look bright, because you know, the gym is a most powerful tool out there. You know, I firmly believe that. It's a lifesaver.
Yeah. And again, like, people open up to you. You always find that being open about your story, people will be like, I've had this happen to me, or this happened. And they would never have told you if you hadn't been open about yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they walk around, you know, with like their coat on, like hiding everything. And one piece of advice from one person also hiding something could change their life. And that's pretty much what you're doing. Yeah. You're giving advice on your story, which could help.
People are talking about their story, because they're like, well, if he talked about his and it's helping him, then maybe I should go and talk about mine. And then they open up about it, and then they talk to just a few people, and then they might give them a bit of some advice. They go and take it, and then they rectify the problems. Where before they might have just been living under a rock and just hiding it in and holding it in. It's eating them up. When all they could have done is talk about it. Networking and talking to people is a very powerful tool. And if you can find someone that you can confine in, and who's been in a bad situation, and you can quickly just go and have 5 minutes of them, it could change your life.
It's like a lot of people don't want to be seen as weak, and that's what they think opening up is. Yeah. And I'll tell you this: it takes a lot more strength to be open about the shit you've been through than to hide it and say I'm good. Yeah. Because that shit hurts, like in the beginning. And it takes it out of you, especially if you've been through some traumatic stuff. Yeah. And I
talk to people about this story every single day. And, you know, even on the train on the way up here today, there was people asking me why there was a family. We got talking, and they said why I'm on the way out, and I never hide it. And I said, I'm off to film a podcast today. And they said, oh, what do you do? And I said, I was in prison. Instantly, you've caught their attention. You know, they never forget. People never forget me because of that. And I spoke to a very famous person in life coaching skills who does very well for himself. And I met him once. And I asked him, I said, why is it that I've done so much better than everyone else in 2.5 years? And he said, well, one of the reasons was, what did you first say to me when you first arrived? I said, well, my name's Jason. I've been in prison. He went, how could I ever forget you? And are you? And I'm like, wow, yeah, it's so true. Where most people go, hi, I'm Jason. I'm a PT. I'm Emily. I'm a PT. I'm whatever. I'm a PT. It's always PT. PT. Oh, I'm Jason. I've been in prison. Bam! I've got your attention instantly, and now you want to know more. And what I'm about to tell you is life-changing. And then it leads on to, I own a gym. I always felt like I'm like secondary marketing to my, I'm the first marketing to the gyms. I'm the face of that brand. People find out about me, then they find out I've got a gym, and they're like, wow, that's cool. If he's gone through that journey from that to that, and he must have these gyms, the gyms must be pretty cool. It's like indirect marketing, I call it.
It's the best marketing.
Yeah.
Like driving it yourself.
Yeah.
Is
and it just feels like a day in the life.
Yeah.
It's free. I can talk about my journey, which costs nothing. Manners cost nothing. Being polite to people costs nothing. And telling my story to people who probably want to hear things like this because they don't hear it every day, it costs nothing. And honestly, I tell my story once to twice every single day, and I never get bored of it. And someone actually said to me recently, "Are you not over this yet?" And I said, No, I'm not over it yet, and I'm not sure when I'll ever be over it. This was such a, we only touched the surface of 9 years of crime, 10 years of being in the world of crime. We only touched the surface of it for the hour that I'm here. I've got 10 years on this. I could probably talk for the next at least a year. I reckon I could be in here. Yeah, if you fed me. If you fed me and brought me a little mattress, maybe we could lay down over some pillows and a mattress. I reckon I could do a year. Another stint. And
I think to wrap everything up nicely would be your one piece of advice to anyone, whether that be thinking of suicide, stuck in a dark place, looking at prison, like in somewhere they don't think they're going to get out of. What was your advice to them be?
When I went to jail, and this is, a priest came up to me. I'm not religious at all. A priest came up to me, and I've never heard this before. I was only a kid. And he said, everything happens for a reason. Okay, and we hear that every day. But it really does. A manifestation is a massive thing now. Think positive. Why is this happening to you right now? Why are you at the lowest point of your life? Or why are you there? You're there to learn. Use it as a learning curve to become powerful afterwards. Yeah, you can only see that 5 minutes in front of you right now. But trust me, if you can use this low moment to create life skills, you're going to become a powerful person, a very powerful person. So my advice would be is use this moment to learn, educate yourself. This ain't over. This is just the beginning. You have a very positive life ahead of you. And that sums that up.
Jason Frost, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.